we're going to be talking about 3 things that I'm doing in my TpT businesses in the next 3 months. So if you're new here, I have 2 TpT businesses. One I've had since the summer of 2016, and the other I just started this year in May of 2024, specifically preschool, homeschool moms, because I'm no longer teaching math. I'm now doing the homeschool preschool thing, right? In addition to having a business and doing all of that. So still have my original TpT store. It's still doing really well, but I'm kind of moving towards putting that more on autopilot. And I'm putting a lot of time and attention into this new store, primarily because if you want to know the truth, I'm a little bored with the other one. So we started this new school store and I'm really excited about that. And these are 3 things that I'm going to be doing in both of my businesses. Now, I'm going to tell you that if you are brand new to TpT, this is a little advanced, okay? But if you've been around for a while, these are going to be some fantastic ways that you can help set up systems inside of your business to take a lot of the pressure and load off of you and constantly having to market. So we're going to be talking about some things that I'm focusing on to do that in both of my TpT businesses over the course of the next 3 months. Number 1, setting up a tripwire ad for both stores. So I have ads that run pretty much all year long to both stores, but I'm going to be setting up some tripwire ads for math. I have a tripwire ad for this new store, but I really need to shore up some things on that and kind of rework it a little bit, but it has worked. So tripwire ad, because I'm saying this over and over again, you may be like, well, what is that? A tripwire ad is where you have an ad for like join my email list, for example. And then once they do the thing that you wanted them to do, like sign up for your email list, then it gives them something else that they can do. It gives them like an upsell, right? So an example of this for what I'm doing right now is I tell them to join my email list to get this freebie. And then as soon as they get the freebie, the thank you page tells them they can go get the full priced product. And there's a button for them to click where they can go get the whole resource. And that is on the thank you page. It tells them that immediately. Another example of a tripwire ad might be where you want them to purchase a small product or sign up for a webinar or whatever. And then as soon as they purchase the small product, you immediately upsell them to something else, or you get them to do something else that you want them to do. So the initial sign up is the tripwire to show them the thing that you really want to show them. So you kind of like kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So in this case, I am getting them to sign up for my email list, which is what I want them to do. But ultimately, I want them to be a customer. So while they're still a little bit warm from signing up, I'm going ahead and advertising that to them. You can do this also inside of the email that goes out to them with the freebie as soon as they join your email list. But I'm honestly finding that the thank you page, the thing on the thank you page is working a little bit better than the email because they haven't just downloaded the freebie. So that is the tripwire ad. That's what it is. I'm going to set one up for math and I'm going to shore up the one that is for my preschool niche. The second thing that I'm going to be doing in the next 3 months is rewriting my email opt-in for math. So I think I need for it to be a little bit longer. I need for it to be a little bit more focused and going to kind of change. Right now, the goal is kind of like welcome sequence / sales sequence and all that kind of stuff. And I really just want it to be very streamlined. I want to teach them about a specific product line that I want to draw more attention to. And so I'm going to actually change up my email opt-in, what the lead magnet is, and then I'm going to write a new email opt-in sequence. So that is going to be the second big thing that I'm doing in my business. And if you've never written an email opt-in, it's actually quite an endeavor it doesn't have to be that big of a deal, but when I'm running paid ads, I really want it to perform well. So I'm going to be focusing on that in the next 3 months. The third thing is, and this is a big one, I'm actually going to be doing this for several, I have 3 email lists. And so I'm going to be doing this, trying to do this for all 3 email lists. And that is batch writing emails that my assistant can customize and send. For example, with this preschool niche, I have resources that are being created that because the resources aren't created yet, I can write the email, but the images are going to have to be put in after the fact and the links are going to have to be put in after the fact. So I want to try to create like batch write the outlines, and then my assistant can go in and add in the graphic and add in the links to the resources and schedule them out. So I can kind of create the drafts and then they can go in and finish it out. And then that way I always have a bunch of emails drafted and they can just go and pick them up and be like, I can say, hey, this product is done. Can you schedule out that email? And they can finish out the rest. Another thing that I'm going to be doing this for is my TpT seller emails, which I know this is about my TpT stores, but I'm really behind in that. And I think that this could be helpful for a lot of people who have a newsletter style of email. So where basically you have like different sections of your email. If you section out your newsletter, if you're finding writing newsletters and sending weekly emails to be a little overwhelming, you can create different sections in your newsletter and have like, that hook at the very beginning, have some sort of tip, and then have a suggested product, for example. And so you can batch write out all of your tips, batch write out your hooks, and then have the suggested product, or in my case for TpT sellers, it's the podcast. And so if I batch write out hooks, tips, and then the podcast each week is, pretty simple because it already has like a given topic. It already has an outline. It already has all of those things. Then my assistant can go in and can pick a hook, pick a tip, and then just link to write a couple sentences about the podcast and link to the podcast. Same for if you're doing something like that for your TpT store. If you have a weekly newsletter that, say, for example, gives them a tip, gives them a little intro, and then links to the suggested product, you can have a bank of all of those, and then someone can come in, or you can come in separately and then batch schedule all of them. So for me, sitting down and writing out a list of tips, not a big deal. Writing out a list of hooks, also not a big deal. But I think going in and formatting everything and scheduling them all out, it just seems a little more daunting for some reason. And so I tend to kind of put that off. So I'm going to make that a job for my assistant so that it'll take a little bit more off of my plate. And then also, hopefully, that will move us one step closer to taking some of the email marketing off of my plate entirely. Eventually, I would love to outsource some of that for at least one or two of the different businesses. I still really enjoy writing for math. I still really enjoy writing all of those emails and doing some of that stuff and kind of doing it on my own because I feel like I know that audience really well. But doing it for 3 different businesses can be really time consuming. So at some point, I'm going to need to outsource some of that to somebody on my team, which would be really great. So those are the 3 things that I'm focusing on for the next 3 months. So if you're at a point in your business where you're brand new to selling on TpT, probably these 3 things are a little advanced for you. But if you've been working on your TpT business for a while, this kind of gives you a good idea of how you can set up things in your business so that you are less hands-on and you have systems in place that are going to be selling your resources while you sleep, via tripwire ads, opt-in sequences, and having somebody else batch out your emails. If you're brand new though, and you want to learn more, you can check out last week's podcast episode or check out last week's video where we talked about 5 things that I've learned about starting a new TpT store in 2024. You also want to stay tuned for next week because next week I'm going to be talking about 3 things that I'm doing for my new store that I'm not doing for my established store. So 3 things that I'm doing in my new business that I'm not doing in my established business because I feel like they're necessary for a new business and not necessary for my established business. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure if you are not subscribed to hit that subscribe button so that you catch all of the episodes. And I'm going to see you guys right back here next week.